Welcome back to another episode of Sports Talk. Now, it's been a while since I've uploaded a Sports Talk episode here on the channel, but now that we're about 3 weeks into the NFL season, I wanted to give you guys a Sports Talk commentary and cover something really near and dear to my heart, but we'll get into all that in just a second. I need to introduce the gameplay to you guys first. This gameplay, of course, I'm using the Obsidian Steed Silenced here on the map Quarantine, which is one of the new maps of the final DLC map pack for Advanced Warfare. Not a bad map. The spawns are a little chaotic on this map, but what spawns are not chaotic on Advanced Warfare? It seems like people spawn behind you, in front of you, to the side of you, and all over the place. It's just the way the game plays. The gameplay that you guys are watching, though, is a good one. I am going to be sitting here murking the other team, trying to carry my team to a victory, doing all that I can. Now, whether or not we win or lose, I'll leave that to the end. I want you guys to stick around and see whether or not I lose this game. Hopefully you enjoy the commentary enough to stick around for the final outcome. But let's get right into what I want to talk about today in this Sports Talk commentary, and that is my favorite NFL team. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this in a previous commentary. I probably have. But my favorite NFL team is the Chicago Bears. Now, this is something that's been near and dear to my heart since I've been a little kid. Ever since I even knew there was a NFL, I think I was cheering for the Chicago Bears. My family's from Chicago. I got pictures with me wearing a Walter Payton jersey as a 4 or 5-year-old toddler. You know, it's one of those long instilled family traditions to root for the home team, and the Chicago Bears have always been my home team. Now, unfortunately, it's been a really rough couple of seasons. I would say 3-4 years for the Chicago Bears, especially this new season. I knew that we were going to go into this behind the 8 ball. I knew this was going to be a tough season, and one of the main reasons is this. I am not a Jay Cutler fan. As much as I love the Chicago Bears, I'm just not a Jay Cutler fan. I can't stand him. I don't think he has a lot of heart. He's just not a favorite of mine at all. I'm not a big fan of the Jay Cutler era in Chicago. He hasn't produced much. To me, he's a chucker-style quarterback. He gets into trouble. He chucks the football. That's why he has so many interceptions. And, you know, I just think he's kind of a pussy. You know, he gets hurt, and he'll sit out of a game, even if he has like a small hangnail or something. He'll make any reason not to play. He seems to make a lot of excuses for his failures instead of blaming himself. And it just doesn't seem like he has the will to win. And it's unfortunate that, you know, my favorite team has a quarterback I can't stand, but that's just the way it is. I don't think Chicago is going to be a winning team until we get rid of Jay Cutler. Unfortunately, someone in the head office there gave him a contract extension. Supposedly that person was fired after that because, you know, it was a big mistake to do that. He's not a franchise quarterback. To me, he is a starting quarterback that's just better off being a backup quarterback. He got a starting quarterback salary, and he's just a backup quarterback. That's the way I look at it. It really is. And it's not going to be a very good season. It's not going to be a very good couple of seasons until we lose him. Until he's either traded or he decides to leave on his own accord or whatever. We just get rid of him. So I think that's going to have to happen. Unfortunately, we also got a coach that I'm not a big fan of, John Fox. Now, I'm a big Peyton Manning fan, and I followed Peyton Manning over to Denver watching him play. So, of course, John Fox was his first head coach there. And I just saw John Fox make a lot of questionable calls, a lot of bad play calling coming out of him. You know, taking the ball out of Peyton's hands in certain situations. It didn't seem right, and then they would end up losing the game. Questionable play calling was why he was not one of my favorite head coaches. And then, lo and behold, guess who picks him up? My favorite team. So now I'm just kind of screwed where my favorite team has my least favorite coach and least favorite quarterback. And until both of those guys are gone, I don't think that we're going to have a winning season in Chicago. That's just my personal opinion. You know, I'm pretty sure there's other Chicago Bears fans out there that may still love Jay Cutler and like what John Fox is going to be doing. Supposedly, I know that they gave Jay Cutler, again, more control over the offense this season. And I think they did that because whether they fail, they can give him all the blame. Or if they succeed, they can give him all the praise and justify their means of extending his contract. Again, I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, this guy sat out of last game to me for no reason because I know he got a little dinged up. I think it was in the second week. But it didn't seem like enough to keep him out of the game for Week 3 and against the Seattle Seahawks of all people. He should have played that game. He was on the sidelines, walking around. He seemed fine. You know, I'm not a doctor. Of course, I don't know what kind of pain the guy went through getting thrown on the floor, but look at Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford has been getting banged up the first couple of weeks here on Detroit, and you know, he had bruised ribs, he was bleeding, his elbow was bleeding, his face is all messed up. The guy's really, really banged up, and he still chose to play Week 3 after his coach asked him if he wanted to sit out. He wanted to play. He's a competitor, and he played against Denver last night. They ended up losing, but it would have been more of a blowout if he didn't play, and it just shows his heart. He wants to play. He wants to help his team win, and that is non-existent in Jay Cutler. Jay Cutler is a scrub, man. I really don't like him at all, and it's very unfortunate that he's on my team. That's the way I feel. I'm not sure if anybody of you guys have ever had that situation where you just don't like the coach, don't like the quarterback. I'm sure it happens, but you know, I'm hoping that with this season, I'm thinking that the best they'll do is maybe 4-16. The worst they do, 3-13 or something like that, 2-14. It's going to be a bad season for the Chicago Bears, and I'm hoping that this will kickstart some serious change on their roster. You know, they got rid of Jared Allen, I think, yesterday or a couple days ago for no reason, if you ask me. I mean, we need help on defense. He was probably our best defensive player, or one of them, and now we got rid of him. And it seems like we're getting rid of players that are helping the team instead of getting rid of players that are truly hindering the team, like Jay Cutler. We should have got rid of him, traded for him, cut him, something. But, you know, hey, they're stuck with him, and we're going to have losing seasons until we get rid of him. And Matt Forte, on the other hand, I love Matt Forte, our running back. I think Matt Forte is a solid running back. He is getting a little old, but I love him. I think he's a great player. I think he's the only reason that we're still in this somewhat. And it's kind of unfortunate that he's been put in this situation, you know, to have this kind of team to play with. But, you know, we'll see if they run him into the ground. Anyway, that's my opinion, and that's my thoughts on the Chicago Bears. You guys let me know down below, who is your favorite NFL team? I am curious to hear who roots for who out there, all right? There's the game, 97-100. I did the best I could, try to win the game, and to no avail, 35-4. All right, guys, thanks for all your views, subscribes, and likes. This is NESSINATOR once. I appreciate it all, and I'm out.